and I used to stream my work on Live Code TV. Unfortunately, I tried to work without streaming for a while, and while I was working, I got really sick by the flu for around 40 days. I went to hospital and they didn't know what's wrong, and they asked me to go to another hospital to open a profile. Long story short, I was in a miserable shape. And the funny part is, I got better like 2 weeks ago, and I worked even less when I was sick. So now I found that I really need to start working seriously on the project, because after all, I'm the leader of the gang, and um, I have two guys that are working with me. And if I'm doing the minimal amount of work, how can I expect them to do more than what I do? I mean, I need to do much more than the whole team to be a good figure as a boss or something. So anyway, let's not go that far. This is my first video on YouTube, and if you never watched me before, and it won't be a surprise, the whole world, only 80 people followed me in there, in Live Code TV. I will make an introduction video that show what am I doing, and I was planning to do it now actually, but I was like, no, let's work. I really need to put more working hours on my schedule, and I'm going to make a show off for my game engine version 2 prototype and my game simulator prototype after I finish this section. The last 2 sections. I never streamed before on YouTube, and I'm learning on it. I'm looking at it on the second screen to figure out what it's saying, and it says my video output is low now. So I will, yeah, daydream from time to time. I usually try to get on the point, but sometimes I drift away, and hopefully that. But I'm not going to restrict myself too much and become grumpy, because actually when I work alone I don't talk at all, and nobody knows what am I doing, and it becomes boring by the time. I mean, so yeah. So I'm not going to make an introduction. I'm not going to make a prototype show for both the game simulator and the game engine. I will do that later, and even the script. There will be another one for the script. Because my whole work consists of these 3 systems. And sometimes I work like 8 hours to 10 hours and even 12 hours a day for like 3 weeks or a month and a half, and sometimes I work 8 hours a week. And this is, I wish if I'm more stable, but I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. After all, this is my first real project. Look at me, I'm doing the introduction. So anyway, what I'm working now on is what made me really depressed the last 2 months, is the new animation system. I'm trying to figure out a way to make different animations have different accessories, or what I call them accessories, but you can consider them layers, like different weapons, different armors, different capes, different hairs, and do different things depends on what they are holding. Like if he's holding a weapon, one-hand weapon is different than when he's holding 2-hand weapons while he's running or attacking. So I was going to make this as a hard code in the engine, in the game engine, and I got an idea because I'm working on a game file and I'm trying to make my engine as data driven as much as possible. Is there a way to make it data driven, the whole process? So I start doing some wacky stuff, and I introduced something called accessory slot, where whenever you have a character, as I said, I'm sorry you'll get really confused when you see some of the stuff in here, because this is the first time, but hopefully after this I will start working on the what do you call it, the introduction video, and things will get better. So if we go to the animation section and we review this is the AP section, sorry. This is to create a new animation character. So we have the hero in here and Walker, two different characters, and the arrow shouldn't show in here. This is the new stuff I did to the accessory slot. We'll see it in action in a second. And this guy have more than one side. He can go right, left, up, down. We can remove the collision tangles. Why the damage tangle is white? Yeah, you'll see a lot of crappy things in here. Oh, maybe I wanted white to look clear, because I'm using gray on the background. This work is quite old, by the way. This page was made in September last year. You cannot imagine how old is this sometimes. Yeah, it is white on purpose actually. I selected white to make it clear, and I was like, what the hell? Sorry about that. I start the dilly-dally again. So this guy have 4 sides, and this guy, the other one, Walker, have 2 sides. Oh, actually 1 side. And this is one of the problem. If this guy have 1 side, how can he walk to the left? How can I tell the game walk to the left? And I was going to make the game in the hard code. Whenever it do an action, and if the character have 1 side, depends on the character, by the hard code, not data driven, it knows that it needs to use the animation reversed. And this page to make animations for the objects. So if we, as you can see, the list is empty, but when you select the hero, and he have 4 animations walking on 4 different sides, each with different speeds for testing purposes. And this is what was the old engine supposed to do. By the way, this image is not from me. I just took it from the internet a long time ago, around 2010 or something, if not even before, when I was working on War 3, my RPG game. But this one is from my artist actually. I'm sorry that the image is really small. We can go to the map simulator and check the pin and retrieve the image from there. He just finished the animation for the character walking, and unfortunately I didn't finish the system yet. But later on I will ask him to remove the hands to use them as accessories. So this is how the character can have animations. I can create ones in here, but I will leave that in the introduction for the prototypes, or the introduction for the game simulator. So here, this is the new thing that I'm working on. Here we can add accessories slots. For example, we can say this guy is an accessory, which doesn't make sense, but maybe the walking armor is an accessory. If I remove this thing and I make this as an armor only, this thing can consider an accessory as an armor that the character can hold. but we want to use a new accessory. Oh, sorry, this is the accessory slot. Sorry. Um, the accessory slot is where you show where the character will hold accessories. What does that mean? Did I finish the whole thing? For example, when you hold a gun in here, we want to give him a gun slot or a weapon slot. And we want to add the position in here. And we need to activate the arrow layer. This is not really clear. Let's make it white or something. Even worse. Pink. Well, a little bit. So this is the gun and the direction or the weapon slot. It doesn't matter if it's a gun or a one-hand weapon or even a two-hand weapon. As of course, maybe the animation for the two-hand weapon is a little bit different. Imagine if the two-hand weapons are all holded on his back and showed on his back. So I will draw the weapon in here and call this two-weapon slot or two-hand weapon slot. So it shows only in his back. And it accepts a layer type. I need to add layer types. One-hand weapon and two-hand weapon. So this type accepts only the two type hand weapons, not the first hand, and I add it before the animation itself. I mean before the main animation itself. So this thing, why did it return back? Because I didn't change that, and this is a mistake. The position is saved only when I move the tracker, so I need to trigger the save function when I click on save to solve this problem. But let's throw it again. Imagine this is a two-hand weapon. It starts from here and it directed down, maybe a little bit higher. So we can adjust the position by changing the number manually, and when I go here, it's saved here. So when he starts aiming, we need to change the weapon direction. Oh, this thing is not working correctly, does it? I didn't test this enough, by the way. But we can add the angle manually again. So it should be around 300. A little bit higher, 330. Of course, the angle is different than math. It started from the x-axis and goes clockwise, unlike the math angle. So as you can see, the weapon accessory will go here. And here we need to change it again. I wonder why it's not working. It was working when I tested first, and it's funny now it's not. I will check the algorithm or the formula after this, or maybe while I'm doing that. I'm taking too much time on demonstration, the whole thing. Actually, this thing should be a little bit lower like this and a little bit higher, and the last frame it should be like this. Actually, this position is for the one-hand weapon, if you notice. So he should hold the weapon as a one-hand weapon in here, and we can play the animation. Nope. Oh, I changed the name. I changed the number of the tag. I added and removed different tags, and this one was like in here, and this one didn't exist, and this one didn't exist. This one was before unit testing. The play button screwed up. It didn't check the number. So as you can see, I didn't made. Now you made me think about a problem again. This animation, the weapon on the back only on this position, but when he get it in the front, it become in the front. Now this is a new problem I never thought about. And that's why this fucking system, sorry about swearing, gave me a lot of headache. Maybe I need to do the priority list thing. Actually, at first I made it into priority list, then I thought about it, I was like, I'm not going to switch between the layers too much. Why should I make a priority list and use a list instead? And look at that, now I need a priority list. Or to avoid doing stupid stuff like that. So when he start doing the fire animation, the weapon is always in the front. So I didn't add a mechanism to add it in down, to move it, so there's no way to change it, and I need to delete it and add it after. But because I deleted it, it removed the data. I need to add a mechanism to move them. I was thinking about a way to add some kind of add-on on the list box to make them trackable, but so I can apply it on all the stupid things in here. But I will see about that later on. It's not my top priority. I need to finish this stupid system, so the artist know what the hell he should do. So you got an idea what's going on here. What does accessory mean? What does the layer mean? Accessory slot is this slot of the weapons and armors and hair and stuff. And they using type. That's the slot. The accessory itself is the accessory itself, a weapon, a hair, a specific armor, golden armor, brown hair, spiky. So I add the accessories in here. I need to select the sprite that it lives in, and because I don't have any sprite in the accessory collection, I go to the sprite in here. I don't know how to pronounce this word. I always confuse myself. Is it spirit? Is it sprite? Is it whatever? So I have no clue. I heard several pronunciation for it, and it's totally confusing. And for example, let's pick any sprite. This is another one from on the internet. It seems from Final Fantasy Tactics, it says. So this is a good example for accessory. Or maybe not. Yeah, it's for the hands, for the armor, as you can see. And I can go to the accessory page and add this page and say it is size of 60, and whatever. And it doesn't update the thing in here yet. I didn't finish that, to be honest, but I made it. It should add it if have a layer tab. Well, what does it need to? Oh, it need a name. Hand. So at least it saved the data, but it doesn't save it in the file too. I will add the saving to the file, all these crap, the new stuff. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one after I finish everything. So every time I open the stupid thing to test it, I need to do everything over. And this one is to give equipments slots to the character. Equipment slots is different than accessory slot, believe it or not. For example, what if the game doesn't support showing different armors and bendings and legs and stuff like that? Like a lot of games you can wear different armors, but it doesn't change how you look. So this is where the equipments in games look like. And it doesn't have to be equipments that player can see as well. So this is the page for that. And again, it accepts different kinds of layers. And we can even say it accepts all types of layers. Even though it doesn't make sense if you ask me, but I just add it in there just maybe for the spare stuff or something. I don't know why I add all. It made sense when I made the code. And this one is what I'm working on now. This is the bar that made my hair gray. Not literally, but it will. I'm trying to finish this week, and unfortunately it's Friday, and the week almost over, and I'm not that far in it. So what's going on here? Oh hey, the stupid thing tells me how many minutes I have on YouTube. So I don't need my clock program. Or maybe I do. Or maybe I do. I still used to my program. So let's see. So what have I done so far here? So how to describe this thing? First of all, we have actions in the game. For example, walking to the right, walking to the left, being idle, climbing a stair, climbing a ladder, crouching, firing, aiming, you name it. And we need to give names for these states. The state where the character is in, and the action the player is asking him. For example, I might have an action of walk left, and for some reason it didn't accept it. Why? Because I made these things unique. I changed the design for the 1 billion time for each animated particle. That's mean weapons and characters. So let's take Walker. Actually, the name walk left is kind of bad. It should be, I don't know. I will show you why it's look bad. So, walk left is the action that the player or the controller gives the character. But the character might be walking left, or might be pushing left. So if he reached a wall at that end, he might start pushing the wall. So even though the character is still doing the same action, but he gets different results. And of course there's falling. I don't know if there's falling, yeah, there is falling right, that's he's facing right, falling left, and you get the image. Of course, if the character is drawn in 4 sides, how can you draw him for falling left and right? That will be even more confusing. For example, as I said, the hero is designed for RPG games. He have 4 sides. He can walk up and down, right and left, like Link or Pokemon character. But Walker, he has 2 sides. He's like a scholar game, like Mega Man or Castlevania. So he doesn't have up and down as a direction. So all of these states can happening while the character is walking left, depends on the situation. So this character now have all these states, and of course we need idle state. Is idle typed like this or idle as OE? Let me check. I believe it is idle with LE. Yeah. So spelling. I need to move this on the top actually, and I need to make it capital, so let's change it into capital, and it didn't change for some reason. I need to check why. It can get deleted at least. So anyhow, now I can say when you are idle, or walking, or bushing, and you want to walk left. Now this is really interesting. So let's remove pushing. Yeah, I never test this in theory. I mean, to apply it on some stuff. He keep going or walking to the left. Now, how can I add a condition that if a wall in front of him, he should start pushing instead of walking? That's, my friend, need to be hard-coded. And actually, I was thinking about this problem in a different way, but this example made it even more obvious that this system will be really, really difficult to finish without a hard code to check different states. So this is kind of will work as a guidance with the help of a hard code. And we should suppose to add this in here, but I didn't make the object yet. And in here, depends on the AP, the animated particle. I didn't touch this page yet. And which state he ends to. And which side does he have? And which accessory does he have? What kind of animation do I expect to have? So actually this page is already faulty. I should add which equipment holding which accessory. So this needs some tweaking. And we got the result of the animation. So this needs some tweaks. And it needs some thinking actually. Because sometimes some of the equipment doesn't matter what it does have. Maybe that's why I add all. I should add all in here. So yeah, this will change a little bit as going to add some kind of what's called conditions. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. First of all, let me fix this problem. Why the save didn't work? Oh, now it worked. Weird. And I just noticed a problem. When you change the name in here, it's still stay in here. Sometimes it just, I don't know. So I need to check the list as well. And it made me to think about even a bigger problem. Whenever you make a save in here, it needs to change a lot of stuff, I fear. Great. So as you can see, the system is not that amusing with all these issues. So let's try to do some of the work. In 30 minutes, I'll take a break because I already started getting tired, even though I didn't even type a single line of code. But hopefully this showed what's going on. So the first thing we wanted to do is to change this stuff. So I wonder if I should limit the conditions to a single equipment. You see, limitation sometimes is powerful. I mean, being open and everything is good and alright, and that's why C++ have multiple inheritance. But when you have too complicated system, or a system that's too complicated, things doesn't go that well. And besides, it will be easier to program. But this is the question: do I really need to make different conditions on different animations depend on more than one different equipment? For example, if you have a clock and a cloak, I don't know how to pronounce that word. If you have a different helm and a different sword and a different armor and a different weapon, will each of these conditions add a different animation? So this is the question. So maybe I should limit, but this is not good. This is not good, because what if I have a different armor that changed the way how he jumps, which actually already been made in Shovel Knight, an indie game, and I have a weapon that make him jump in a different way too, because the weapon, how he hold it, will do different animation. So this is the question. Oh well, no, I will make it open. More than one condition. Maybe I don't need this list anymore. I was thinking to show which equipment have which. Why this thing doesn't want to? Yeah, good. Aligned with this, it was weird. So here, let's call this equipment. I wish if my team watched this video, honestly, because it will show them why sometimes I get so freaking stuck in this thing. It's just unbelievable sometimes how complicated the thing. You might say, but this is easy. This is supposed to be much easier than this. You're working with lists and dictionaries and arrays. You're not dealing with advanced algorithm, DTST and stuff. And yeah, I don't. And thanks God I don't. But you know what? I have several games in mind that I want to do with the same engine. I have Scholar, I have an RPG, I have an action RPG, I have semi 3D game in my head that have like 16 or 32 sides. It's called 2D and half. And I want the system to support all of them without screwing up. And one of the game, each equipment you wear, like armors, legging, helmet, sword, it will show differently on the animation tab here. So this is one of the things that I want this engine to support. And I already have names, backstory, and everything for them in my head, but they need to be developed. That's the whole thing. Is this A tab 5? No, this is A tab 6, I believe. Weird. This is A tab 5, then what is this? This is A tab 5. These guys need to be called A tab 7 actually. A tab 6 maybe this one. Yes, I rearranged the tabs millions of times, and I change and merge and split. So the naming convention went haywire. But I'm trying to keep at least the same tab have the same number or the same tag. At least. And maybe someday I will come and change all the tabs to have the real number representation. But till now, I will keep these ones because they still valid. Because the code is arranged based on with regions based on the order. Hopefully the delegates in the designer doesn't get screwed up. Too late. So this is number 3,000 millions and 700,000 and something times that I changed the design of this system. So yeah, actually these guys, I don't know. So it depends on the equipment, what kind of conditions does it have? Yeah. Let me change it. Let me call this condition list. The reason why I'm going to add this because it will be easier for the user, who will be probably me, to see how many conditions for the different animations do I have. So if I said if he have this armor and this weapon and this boot, because they form kind of a set, and it's, when the set is complete, his walking animation is different, his attacking animation is different. So these kinds of conditions, I want to see them. I want to see how many conditions do I have in here. So that's why I'm adding the list. I mean, I could just made it in here. Every time I select an equipment, I select non-accessory requirement or whatever I want, or I can add them in here. But one of the problems here is the name. Well, I will add the name as in here, the name of the equipment, and when you click on it, it will give you the accessory condition. So there you go. So this is add animation particle animation. God, animated particle animation. Sorry, me and my acronyms. Add equip condition. I hate the name, but what to do? A tab 7. So this one will change into save, and this one into del. I believe the video doesn't show the text clearly, dang it. I'm glad that I'm testing this. I don't know how can I make it higher. Let me try to make it higher in here. Yeah, this is my first video. I apologize. It seems readable on 720 AP. but not that clear too. Let me run the program and move the screen here and check the YouTube. What does it say? How does it show? And in the meanwhile, let me show the code too and make it a little bit larger. I believe Control plus, just like no, Control L plus, Shift plus. I guess none of them worked. Oops, I missed the screen on YouTube to see if they look clear or not. Someone told me before how to increase the font, and now I forgot. Maybe no, it's not. It's not Control plus for some reason. Ah, it's the scroll bar or the mouse scroll. Alright. I believe, let me check YouTube. There is a delay like 5 seconds or something. So you will see me pausing for a while. Sorry about that. Yeah, this font is maybe a little bit bigger. Alright, so people can see the code easily, even though it's blindingly huge for me. This is very uncomfortable. Sorry about that. I'll keep it this. I usually program on this font, but one tick is not a big deal, hopefully. So let's back to business if you didn't fall asleep already. And yeah, let's start working finally on the actual work. After 42 minutes of explaining and showing and moaning. So we need to make an action condition object. And this sucker should live in the game core file. And the game core file is all the data that the game required to run. I mean, all these data will be saved as a game core file, and I will use the same object, almost the same object, the same save file and load file, yeah, the same data file, but not the object. The object, because it's made on monogame, it doesn't deal with BGI objects, it deals with or bitmins. It deals with something called texture 2D. So there are some differences, especially the texture related stuff. So, but it will load the same file and it do the same stuff. So this is the guy who's holding all the data that we need, and the actions objects should live not in here. Actually, they should live as part of the creature class, or not the creature class, the higher hierarchy. Yes, I'm using OOP inheritance. A lot of people, especially who's using Unity, will get all fired up and says, oh, you idiot, you're stupid, you're using OOP. Well, guess what? It exists, so some people use it. And that's a fact. So the higher object is the animated particle. Anything that live in the map and have animations called animated particles. And this guy should have the action condition stuff. Man, a lot of crap. Sorry about that, I just froze for a second to see my old code, how big it became. It was few lines, and all of a sudden, look at that. Yeah, it's still small. I mean, in number of lines, but the amount of data that it can represent is just unbelievable. So let's see. So actually, we don't have only one object to deal with. It's not only one, and or maybe it is. Maybe it is. We have the condition that take an action, and based on the state or states that it has, it moves to another state. But this is what's going on in here in the game simulator. In the game engine, actually, it's a little bit different. It will do some hard code or script or both. Then it will move to the other state. And I'm not quite sure how this system will work. And to be honest, I was struggling with this for more than 2 months. But I was like, you know what, screw it. I need to work on something and figure out how the things work after I screwed up really badly. And that's what I was doing for the last 2 months, because I got so depressed and I didn't know what to do for more than 2 weeks, and then I got so sick because of that. And now I'm just delaying and wasting time yappering about the stuff in the past. So that's why I'm not quite sure if this is going to work or not, but I'm just keep doing what I think it will work and keep adjusting later till it will work, hopefully. Yeah, it would be so sad if I discovered the last 3 months in my life just wasted on a system that I need to replace completely from zero, but so what I'm thinking I'm going to do now is to build a dictionary. And actually this is kind of an idea. I took it when I started programming PHP and web design stuff. The message that you can send the website to ask for something, you can only send one message. And it's similar to here, it's the same idea. You can only send one kind of action at a time to the player. Are you? Actually, no. No, see? I already screwed up. You can fire and move in the same time. So you can have more than one action. But let me think a little bit. The thing is, I was planning to say if I'm walking and then I'm firing, but this is actually the state of walking, but the action is walking and firing at the same time, and I have only one action. Do I need to have a list of actions? This is getting really sickening. So let's imagine this. What if I have a character that he starts walking, and this is an action. He walks. So the animation start to fire the animation of walking. Then all of a sudden, while he's walking, he starts firing. Now we need to run the animation of firing while walking. The action of firing will trigger the animation of fire while walking. And if you keep triggering the action of firing, the animation will continue doing the cycle of firing while he's walking. I knew making this as a hard code would be much easier, but stupid me. I said, no, I want to make a system that make it generalized so I can test it if I make it. Anyway. What if he stopped walking, but he kept firing? So you see, the animations when it started, but there's a cycle that it continued doing something. When it stopped, but there's something continued happening. So maybe I can still do it as one action. What I'm trying to say, if I made it start to fire, it will trigger the aim animation. But if the player keep firing, which I didn't put this in here yet, yeah, I didn't deal with something called keep walking or keep firing yet. How can I do that? So we need to change some of this stuff somehow. So the idea was to have a string that represents the name of the action and a list of strings that represent the number, a list of action condition, or AC for short, that depends on the state where you started. For example, if you ask the player to fire and he was walking, so the result of the condition will get different. If he was idle and you start firing, the result will different. But all of them have the same action, which is fire. So one condition, fire, and it will check what kind of initial state do we have and what's the result. Maybe I can call this state map, and instead of action condition, and I call this thing action condition. So this is the idea, but I'm not sure if this is really going to work. So I need to grab a paper, or maybe just talk it out loudly, and see if this is going to work. I don't know, to be honest. Maybe I will just start a YouTube video and watch how, or start Steam video and see how the character is doing this. I mean, for example, this image, when he's standing, how he will start firing, but the fire animation is even different. This is just starting the fire. When he's walking is a different story. I'm thinking to separate his hands to do the aim and fire as an accessory. So I saved some position, so I don't need a lot of animation objects, and save them as how to put it, what you will do when you have different layers. So we have a dilemma here, and we need to figure it out. The thing that I wasn't thinking about was the characters can have an action that trigger immediately, like one fire, one use, one push, or a continuous action. And continuous action can occur all the time, and they can occur nestedly. Like he can be walking and firing in the same time, or actually he can be falling and firing, but not falling or walking. We don't have animations for that yet, and I need to move my ass and finish the system so I can discuss with the game designer what kind of actions he wants, and then discuss with the artist what he needs to do. I was always thinking about climbing the ladder. And when the character climbs the ladder, he cannot continue climbing and fire. He must stop and fire. And that's my example. That was my example in my head. To do this data structure by only accepting one action and change the state. Well, so let's say if the character was idle and he was beside the ladder and he pressed up, and we call the action up, let's say press up. So this is the action. This is an example, of course. So when he press up as an action here, he need to be idle or walking to make an end state of climbing. And this is the question. How can we distinguish between a continuous action and a static action, or I don't know what you call it, non-continuous action, only once? What does it mean in a game only once as well? I mean, when you play some kind of old shoot 'em up games, or even beat 'em up games, and when you click on P once, he will just do one punch, like Street of Rage or Final Fight. And old fire simulator games, or what do you call it, shoot 'em up, they used to call them now. He will only fire, the airplane will only fire once. And nowadays, they're just something called turbo or auto turbo. That's an old word that I haven't heard for a long time. So I need to make the system to distinguish between the two. But how can I do that? So apparently the initial state is not enough. Oh, wait a minute. I can change the concept of this thing, actually. But this will be a little bit more complicated then. For example, I can say while he is walking and firing. But there's another problem again. Am I going to add walking up, right and left at the same time, or am I going to make separate conditions for all? So for example, I am firing now while But the end state is 1, it's not twice. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Yeah, I need to turn this into a list and turn this into... Actually, maybe I need to make this one singular and make initial actions list. And make this one singular. But it will be a little bit confusing because am I going to add a state walking right, walking firing right, walking left, walking firing left? I believe yes, because this is what you have to do to make a game that support walking left and walking right and firing right. So this is the idea. This is what I'm going to do. But I'm not sure how am I going to make the data structure for that. So we are going to accept a list of actions, and this is so freaking complicated. I might need to add a third layer. Sorry about that. I might need to add a third page in here that no, this page need to be sufficient somehow. So this is the idea. This is the idea. Whenever I do an action, based on the list of actions, it should tell if this action is accepted or not. For example, we have a list of actions. I'm drawing on paper. Sorry about that. You cannot see. And list of A, B, C. If you stop doing an action like A, B, C, the state should know automatically what's the action A, C mean. If the action A and C are active, I can safely add B. It should know that I can add B, but I cannot add D, for example. So we need a system that have a list of actions and the result state. So instead of having an initial state and a result state, we will actually have an initial actions. The actions are the ones that determine the state, and one state only. So if there's no actions, the state is idle. And the act 2 depends on the state and the equipment. We will get a different result. So this is how it's going to work. So it has been more than an hour now that I've been working. So I will take my 10 minutes break. And I'm sorry I don't have an image to show that I'll be right back. But I will tag this here. Later on I will just do be right back stuff. But this is the new design, the newest design, number 3,400,000 and something. And I will ask my youngest brother to make a 3D image with Python or something for be right back and the start of, because hopefully from now on I will work on YouTube and make videos while I'm coding. I don't know if I should make this large or can I make it 172? Yeah. So be right back. that is definitely less than 10 minutes, but I didn't know what to do, so I'll just have a break in here, I guess, or keep working. So, welcome back. Oh wait, I'm the one who came back. Welcome back anyway. I should focus on the timers. So, I'll set my second timer to 60 minutes. And hopefully I'll notice. And I don't know why I'm watching the chat, like if there are plenty of traffic on here or something. But I just posted my link on the Facebook. Maybe my artist will take a look on the video. And thanks God million of times that he's not a programmer. So let's try to apply the new design, which is not the newest because it's going to change in a few minutes. Yeah, when I worked on the skill system, I changed it only twice. I kid you not. It's just the system came really neat, really beautiful, really optimized, and I love it. I just love it. The creatures or the prototypes, what I call them, save the minimum amount of data that it's needed to represent itself in the game, and it take all the data from the job thing. So we have the animated particle save all common data, and each creature only know its animated particle name, and it take the data from there. So it doesn't save redundant data. Like imagine if we have a demon called an imp or orc or troll or whatever, and all of them have, like if you have an RPG game, an action RPG, and in the fight you have 10 trolls, 5 imps on the same map that you can fight, and all of them doing stuff, walking, attacking, jumping, stuff like that. Will each one of these objects have redundant data for the animations and actions and the skills and how they level up and everything? So all these data saved in one object, and the prototype know only its status, its level, its HP, its MP, stuff like that. The other status can be saved as a formula actually, and you don't need to save them. Like if this is level 10 in this game, you have fixed amount of strength and defense. So the system was wonderful, and it was made in less than a month. This system, yeah, it has been around 2 months and 2 weeks, and I'm still not even, I'm more than 50%. I done more than 50%, but I still struggling with it. This thing is unbelievable. So yes, all of that because I have an experience. I made several old games, and one of the games I completely finished it on Visual Basic 6 called Castle 2. And this game have a story, it have 7 different endings, and around 12 different ending paths, but they trigger the same ending. And it has a lot of levels. It have like 5 different kind of modes to play in, and it have a difficulties meter, like 5 difficulties. And the game is amazing, but it's not working for several reasons. It used some libraries that worked on Windows 98 on System 32, and they don't exist anymore. And it deals with the old kernel too, and it's saving the memory a different way. So unless if you uninstall Visual Basic 6 and an old system and do some old stuff, it can work. The moral of the story the game have around 110,000 line of code. 110,000 line of code. Why? Because the data management was stupid. Was fucking sucks. I was learning how to program. I was so excited. I was young. I was like 20 or something. I believe I was 21. I made it around 2003 before I learned Java. 2003, 2002. I made it a long time ago. So the moral of the story is not only this. Then I started working on another game in 2004 called The Thunder. And this game is complicated. The design of the gameplay is complicated, and I'm trying to remake it actually. And it have smart AIs. It have characters that change the way how they talk with you. Depends on how much they like you and how much they know you. Maybe they know you a lot, but they hate you. So if they don't know you, usually they don't like you or don't hate you too. The messages changes. And the AI can remember several events if they occurred with you. They can remember how many times you fought with them, how many times they won. And they can change some of the dialogues when they talk with you. And the dialogue system was terrible. I didn't study data structure at that time. I didn't know what does data structure mean, even after I studied it in the first time. I'm a very slow learner. And I only finished one AI, and I started working on the second. And I only finished the fight with the training dummy and with the first AI. And I hit 96,000 line of code. And I was planning to add at least 20 AI, different characters, story, campaign, different characters to play with, different robot systems. And guess what? It would take more than 700 or 800,000 of lines to finish that game with that poor data management. And I have even decryption and encryption for the save because I was planning to make it online, or at least on the network, and people just take their save memory in disks. I was saying on floppy disk because floppy disk was used at that time. It still wasn't used. Desktop computer used to have floppy disk driver in early 2000. It was still valid. I even made a questionnaire to ask the people who were reviewing it to fill it up and send it by email to me, what they thought about the game. That's why I'm building this system. This system seems sometimes too much, sometimes it seems stupid, sometimes it seems, why don't you just code the game and give us a break? I'm trying to make some complicated game. And I don't want to redo the whole work, all of my old games. I'm trying to make one system that can be interpreted by the game engine in different ways. And I'm doing my best to use all kinds of tricks that I learn. So here's my break time, around 9 minutes, yammering about my past instead of working. And I might repeat the same story over and over, and I apologize for that. I will try to do an introduction video, so every time I start yammering, I'll remember, oh, I did that in the introduction video. And the viewers don't need to listen to that anymore. So, here, we will change some of the stuff. So we are going to make an action list or active action list. And we are going to change all these names. Unfortunately, it might screw up badly the designer and the delegates, but let's just pray that it will change the names automatically, and I won't need to go and do it manually. So depends on the actions that activated. We will have different what I was going to say. Depends on the state itself. We will have different animations. So we will have walking right firing, or firing walking right, firing facing right, firing facing left, firing walking left, and yeah, you can imagine. Maybe I need to make some kind of layer for the sides. So instead of saying, yeah, that's why I add this, silly you. This depends on the side. So instead of saying firing walking right, I would say firing walking. And depends on the side. Firing walking will have different animation if he's firing walking right or firing walking left. And oh my god, yeah, there's a lot of issues in here. I might need to tweak the animation. The thing is, when you start firing, sometimes the action to start the fire, that you will get the gun up, and to continuous fire, to make the fire continuous, he will keep firing, you know. And a lot of games, when you do a fire, the gun usually doesn't move, like he's always aiming to the right, so they don't need to make some kind of transition, animation transition. And I'm trying to make epic games. I'm trying to make games with details that people get, wow, this is amazing. And that's why I'm doing this. So I might add an option in here to say this animation is the first animation that fire, and the second animation is the animation for continuous. So let's call it trans animation. So the trans animation is the animation to make the transition. So when you were idle or you were walking, and all of a sudden you start firing. So there is a trans between walking while firing, and you know. And I'm not sure if this is the right position for this animation, but we will see about that. Because, oh God. I hate this already. There's a difference if the character was standing still and firing and start walking all of a sudden, or he was walking and start firing. But both of them end with the same state. So we need to figure out how to solve this issue now. But before I do that, before I forget everything, even though I wrote it on paper so I don't forget, let me make the changes in here, what I said. Oh, I already did. I need to check the code. I need to check the code. Yeah, they have the same name. And this is need to be changed. I don't know if I make a rename, if the name will change automatically in the designer or not, but let's give it a try. Yeah, it was expected that the first video I will have 0 review. I didn't make any kind of announcement. I mean, heck, who will go and try to find a new live videos all of a sudden and start watching from Saudi Arabia? I mean, seriously. And this is expected. I was streaming on a live code TV, and it was more alive, and that's alright. That's alright. I'm not. Um, the plan is to make these videos so people later on watch, but one of my brothers told me that they don't keep long videos long. So I'm planning to stream only for 2 hours, then stop the stream and start another part so it doesn't get too long. But I hear they don't like videos longer than 1 hour, so I will see about that. I will see. I shouldn't be worried about that. I should be worried about my hard drive, actually. I need to buy a new hard drive to save the videos locally. So let's see if the stupid designer, it seems it did all of a sudden. It seems it did. You see the frozen screen for a few seconds. It seems to change the names. So the second thing I need to change is this name. It was iState, and now this longest name ever. This is the wrong thing. We are working on this. It's not initial state anymore. And this one we need to change. Apparently I didn't change the name. This one too. Yeah, sometimes I speak loudly, sometimes I speak like this. Let me active action. So this one, oh wow, it automatically changed the name. Sometimes it do that, sometimes it doesn't, and I have no clue when it does that and when it does that, but I'm happy it changed it automatically. So let's see. Now let's try to figure out how to do the transition. As I said, when you start firing, it's different than when you start to fire from nothing. And we need to figure out how to do that. And the first idea that I was thinking about is flag one of the animations in the animation list as the trans animation. But this doesn't fly off because, as I said, different state can be reached from different actions. If the game supports sliding and firing, I changed the example, I don't know why, so you don't get bored. So the character can slide on the slope by clicking on down, and he can slide and shoot. which is kind of hard to imagine because he will lose his balance. But let me open this. And imagine if he was shooting and moving, then all of a sudden he starts to slide. So there's a transition between walking and sliding, but he's still shooting. The shooting didn't change. So there's some kind of manipulation in the frames, where the shooting started should always end in the same position. So shooting and sliding and shooting and walking should all have the same number of frames. Why? Because if he shot or start, the animation was the third frame from the first state, it should start from the third frame again from the second state. So it doesn't break badly. So this is the idea, but the problem is, again, should I do transition, or will players never notice these small details? And this is the thing, if they notice, or even if they don't notice, I believe the animation, I'm not an animator by the way, I'm a silly programmer who cannot even pick colors for his images. I believe adding small details like these make the game worldwide different. You can tell if the game animation or positioning is terrible and if the game animation and positioning are perfect. Like the animation in Monster Hunter game series are so wonderful, so epically wonderful. Actually, when I seen the game in 60 frame, I didn't like to play it on 30 frame anymore. I want to play it on 60 frames because they were so beautiful. The transition between the animations are just epic, and I love that. And I'm trying to do something with high quality. I'm not saying I'm going to do something like Monster Hunter because I need a huge team and several millions of dollars and a lot of guts, and I don't have any of these. And that's why I'm overthinking, or as how some people see it, I'm thinking about this problem. How can I solve this problem? I want my animation smooth, and there must be a trigger. I should discuss these with my animator, I guess. But yeah, I was going to discuss it after I finish the animation system. Cycles. So, where were we? Transition. Do we need different transition flags and different animations? Or do we need another layer to say, hey, if this action has been removed and this action has been added, then we get a different state. Or we make multiple states that show different states. So walking and shooting have different states. It's not only walking shooting state, it is walking shooting, that means he was walking first then he started shooting, or shooting walking. Or maybe I should add a flag to the word, like if, or let's pick a letter that we never use, Z. What if I use a word like zooming? Damn it. I don't think there's a word like zooming. Let me think. Maybe the letter U is better. No, using. Q. Queuing. Anyway, imagine if we have a flag, imaginary flag that have a letter omega. Yeah, I can use actually Unicode symbols. So let's say omega walking shooting. That means he started with walking and start shooting all of a sudden. So it start the animation for the shooting while his legs are moving. Am I saying that I'm going to make an animation for transition for each frame for walking? Gah, this is terrible. No, that's impossible for the artist. I mean, it's possible in theory, but yeah, that's the problem. My artist's imagination is limited, and I need a lot of thinking before I decide that this idea is too much or not. It's possible. The idea is possible. But will the artist accept doing all that work? Will I accept waiting for all that work? Will I accept pushing all this work to the artist? No, the memory doesn't like it. The artist doesn't like it. I don't like it. So maybe I need to forget about this idea or find another way to do it. And yeah, the more I talk to the camera about this problem, the more I think I need to contact my artist. And yeah, I will definitely ask my artist Giuliano to watch this video and see what he thinks. And for now, we need to do something. We need to do the system at least. Then we worry about the transition. If the transition will require too much work, then no problem. No problem. I will work more because I need to do something. I have been doing very little the last month, and that's why I start streaming again. So I can get my ideas out because I don't like to talk loudly to the wall. It just sounds stupid. And that's why it's easier for me to stream and imagine people are watching me. So I'm talking to someone at least. It's more logical. So let's go back to the animated particle and add the dictionary. So the dictionary have a different kind of yeah. Give me a second. So we need an object called action object, and this action object is actually dang it. It's actually a list of strings, so I'm not sure if I should make a list of string or I should make encapsulate it in one name. And this action object is actually I can remove and add these actions to it, but the problem is if I'm going to do it as in a dictionary, yeah, this requires some thinking. Let me think for a second. First of all, let's close this thing. What does the key? What is the key for the whole thing? What's distinguish the whole thing from others? The action objects list, as I said, or active actions. So the active action, let me make it as an object because I can easily add and remove actions to the list. So active action. So let's make an active actions list object, and the result is a state, which is a string. I don't know if I should add the class out in here or consider it part of animation. Well, it definitely deal with animation, so I'll leave it here. And behold the born for a new class. We need some kind of a way to remove the notebook on the keyboard so I can type. A way to celebrate this this event of the birth of a new useless class as usual that contain very few number of lines as an excuse for its sorry existence. So we have a list of string that contain the actions, and actually to think about it, it's not a list, it's a set. And because it's a set, we need a setter and getter to or adder and remover and checker to do the stuff in it. Unbelievable, 30 minutes already passed. When I was working without streaming, every minute counts and it moves really slowly. And now the time flies really fast. But the thing about it, I didn't work that much either. I was talking most of the time. So let's see. So we have I can make it public and save myself my ass all this gimmerish thing, because I might use it out of the context actually. Context. So we have few functions here. Why the keyword seems 1/4 second lagged? I don't know. We need to make some kind of equality, I believe, function to. You see, the active actions are living inside a dictionary, and if we change the key all of a sudden, oh yes, you can change the keys inside the dictionary, can you? This is a little bit tricky, don't you think? Well, the thing is, think, my friend, think. The dictionary in here actually is not, how to put it, dynamic, not fluid. It doesn't do the stuff and change the active action things. It's actually look like a map. It's a mapping device. What I'm trying to say, it save all kinds of active actions and map it to the result. So in matter of fact, you shouldn't be able to add and remove these things. So what we have to do is just yeah, sometimes you need not only consider what you are using as a data structure, but how you are going to use it as well. And actually it's the other way around. What do you want to do? How are you going to use the data structure, and how it's look like? So see what I mean? This is like one of most primary aspects in programming. I mean, anyhow, sometimes when you deal with a lot of crap, you start to lose or forget the most primary and the most important things. So we have a list of string. Now you made me think about something else. This thing can save the result too. I'm thinking to make this sucker to represent both the state and the animation results, but let's take it one step at a time. Let's not screw up. Hopefully this thing won't, yeah, this thing should make a fresh copy. It won't just make a list, or I mean a pointer to that address. Let me think for a second. I don't need to see this yet. Yeah, there's a lot of things has been added to the animated particle, and saving and loading only to deal with all of these without screwing up and testing them over and over. But that's another day. That's a different story. Damn. So this is a stupid guy who's going to save the active actions, and the only way to retrieve the state is to list all the actions and see if it is valid or not. And this is another issue. What does it mean to be valid or not? That's a different story. So if it's not valid, then it doesn't exist. It doesn't contain the state or the actions. And this is the story. He should have different actions and the least amount of this. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I start to babble a lot and I'm not sure what I'm saying. When you have a combination of actions of n, it's easier to express this in math. You can have all the combination of all the elements of n's. So if you have the combination of A, B, C, you can have AC and AP and CP and A and B and C as an action list by themselves. You cannot have ABC and not AC, because the guy who's going to check the results will remove and add these actions. So actually maybe I need to make a function to add and remove for the dynamic action object that save the current action or activated actions for the particle. For what I'm saying is the creature objects in here will have something called active actions. this is funny, the object name, and we need to make an empty constructor. Unless if I want to send null. So the objects, yeah, sorry, I stopped working without explaining what am I doing. This is what's represent the object. It remember the current side of the object, and the job that reference what's kind of skills and everything he have, the current skills. Without remembering the tree itself, he just remembered the type of skills he have. And its name and data. And you can take it from the data as a data and just plug it in here. So here I add the active action. So if this character is idle, if this character walking, if the character walking and firing, if this character firing and climbing. Not a lot of ideas I have in my head, but hopefully I will have more. Falling and firing, falling and flying and firing, maybe. Maybe the actions themselves too can represent some passive skills. For example, having the star in Mario, in Super Mario Brother games. When you have the star item, you start to shine. And this is kind of passive skill. I put it in my design test prototype thing. When I tried to design Super Mario Brother 1 on my engine by using the job skill on the paper, I consider it as a passive skill that trigger the thing. So maybe the passive skill can trigger an action like God Mod and Doom or the Star and Super Mario. So one of the active action when you have the star, it's easier to make it an active action. So the animation shows depends on the action. If he's jumping and firing with the flower, it's different when he's jumping and when he's jumping having the star, jumping and flying with the flower while having the star effect. So this is actually fit perfectly. I really like it. Before I was like kind of a little bit troubled. How am I going to represent the effects of the passive skills? And this is the solution actually. That might mean more data in the computer, but you see, the object itself only memorize the current actions it have. Am I walking? Am I firing? Do I have a star? But it doesn't know what does it do. Its father know what does it do. So it go and call its father and give it the current action list, and based on the current action list it know what does it do. So this is the whole point. I still don't know how am I going to do the transition, but hopefully it will be smooth. I mean, if I tricked the user eyes by making the first frame is the same as the transition of the action, like if you start walking and continually walking and the first frame is the transition, then it will look acceptable. So we will see about that. We'll see about that. Animation, the definition of animation is just an illusion of static images. And that's the brain analyze them and see them as an animation. So I don't remember the definition out the top of my head, but what I'm going to say, it's all an illusion. So I need to trust the illusion of that thing. And I start bubbling again instead of working. Sorry about that. So let's take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath. And let's take a look. So I'm trying to make this dictionary not only know the result, but to know the animation that's going to trigger. So maybe we need to make the result of the action active action list is part of the action. Yeah, I'm still thinking about transition, the animation transition, man. But I'm going to do that. I'm not going to say I don't care, but I'm going to do that. Actually, I'm going to change this into protected internal too. So I know it's end state and result state seems they might mean the same, might not, but I done that on purpose actually to tell myself actually whenever I see these keywords they are interchangeably the same concept, the same thing. Um, I'm not sure if this is yeah, if there's no actions then he's an idle. He is an idle state, sorry. Um, um, hmm. So we saved this problem. Now we need to change, or actually, yeah, you will hate that, but I need to make another object. This is what's called in design, smelly design. It's called objects explosion or something. Like you have too many objects to represent different things. This is exactly what's going on. Um, to be honest, I never made this kind of amount of objects in my life, but I believe it's still acceptable. I mean, it didn't hit 50 or 70, so I believe it's still acceptable somehow. And I'm trying to hide them as much as possible. I'm going to make an object that have a list of animation, and each animation can be fired by a different percentage. For example, if you play Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure 2, and if you made him waiting, like if you stayed idle for a while, he will play some kind of animation from time to time, and this animation can be different in some games, but some of them more rare than the others. Like Harvest Moon as well, if you keep a character on. So the same list of actions can trigger different kind of animations, but these animations can have conditions too. So I hate myself. That's the result. And there is another thing too. Depends on the site and the conditions, you have different animations. Hmm. I'm thinking to make the site as, yeah, as a dictionary. So I'll be right back. 10 minutes left for an hour, but I'll take a break in the bathroom. Be right back. So we are back talking to the wall again. You know, I'm not expecting anyone to see this video, not even in a year, but I mean, I have a video like 4 years ago, and I don't think it hit even 100 view yet. My English and my voice wasn't that good. The topic wasn't that clear, and I made tons of research, and my message was kind of decrypted, and it can be shortened in a few lines or a few words, like limiting yourself and make yourself less free to do selfish things will make you less selfish. That's the whole video. But when you hear the video, it's just like it goes around and around and around and around and around, because I tried to describe the idea in more details and I screwed up. So, and it's bad quality and everything. And since then I knew I'm really bad at making videos, but I'm still doing this because I love to program and I want to encourage myself to program. Well, I'm trying to limit the videos to 2 hours, and it already passed 2 hours, and this is part 1. So I usually program 6 hours in a chunk, so I will stop the streaming now and make this into part 1 and start part 2. So see you soon. Alright, I believe the stream stopped and it continued, and receiving your content. Okay, welcome back everyone, this is part 2, and I need to reset the clock. Give me a few seconds to do some of the stuff. I should have a break now, but screw the break, and let's start working. I am planning to do at least 6 hours a day. To be honest, the